All right, the first quarterback domino of the NFL offseason has fallen, and it's former Raider Derek Carr agreeing to a 4-year contract with the New Orleans Saints. This is a huge get for the Saints. He's kind of been the biggest quarterback we've talked about this offseason. Everyone has kind of lost their steam on Rodgers. Most of the teams seem like they were out on Rodgers, and they've shifted their attention towards Derek Carr. I know Jets fans and the Jets are absolutely sick. He seemed like he was going to be their guy, all the sweet talk, all the invites, but Carr is heading down to New Orleans, which honestly is a little surprising. He met with New Orleans before being released by the Raiders, but he said, he wasn't going to waive his no-trade clause, so he wasn't going to end up down there. Now, I get it. Screw the Raiders. They did you dirty. We're not going to let them acquire picks for you. And he still ended up going to New Orleans. I thought that kind of meant New Orleans didn't really blow him away, and he was going to see what was out there. And I guess when it's all said and done, he is heading to New Orleans. He's agreeing to a 4-year deal. He's getting $60 million guaranteed next year as far as cash is concerned. That's a shit ton of straight cash, homie. But really not too bad of a deal. It's going to be $70 million guaranteed in the first 2 seasons with another $10 deferred to the 3rd year. It's going to get the headline saying it's a $150 million contract with $100 million guaranteed. It's really not that bad, but we're looking at 35 or so million per year, which honestly isn't that bad. If we look at the contract here, there's that dead cap, $60 million, because he's getting that cash. Only a $7.2 million cap hit in total against the Saints. The Saints are in cap hell right now. They're in the worst of the league. They're like $54 million over the cap. So they got to figure out how to get under that number. And that's a very team-friendly deal. He's going to go up to 35 next year and 45 in year 3. Then there's a potential out. I see them getting out of that. I don't see him playing past year 3. He is going to be 32 years old by the time the season starts. So he's getting a little bit up there. And we just don't know what we're going to get out of Derek Carr. Derek Carr had his best season of his career in 2021. Absolutely monster year. Re-signed with the Raiders. He looked like he was going to be a Raider for life, getting that fat deal. But last year, under head coach Josh McDaniels, he was pretty bad. It was his worst year, arguably, since his rookie year. Only a 60.8% completion percentage. Tied for the league in interceptions with 14, had 24 touchdowns. Now, he had that the year before, but he just wasn't getting the wins. He was at a 68% completion 2 years ago, whereas only a 60% last year, and the Raiders were pretty awful. With the addition of Davante Adams, he really struggled. So I get why the Raiders are moving on from Carr. It's a big question mark. What is he going to bring to New Orleans? They've been pretty bad at quarterback. I mean, even the last 3 years of Drew Brees was pretty dog shit, and they've been in a black hole since then. So now they're getting a stable guy. Carr can win you football games. I think he's around a top 15 to 12 quarterback when he's on his game, and we just don't know what we're going to see out of the Saints offense. Dennis Allen was the head coach in Vegas. I guess it was Oakland when he was drafted by the Raiders. So there's some familiarity there. That makes some sense. But there's going to be a lot of roster moves. We thought last year that the Saints were a playoff team, potentially with the roster they had. Jameis Winston at quarterback, that didn't work out. Andy Dalton kind of carried them to the end of the season. But there's a looming suspension of Alvin Kamara, it looks like. The video is not good. He's probably getting 8 to 6 games suspension, and he really just wasn't himself last year at all. Michael Thomas is never healthy. Slant Boy, probably going to be a roster cut. He has one of the worst contracts in football. I don't know how they're going to figure that one out. It's a lot of dead money, and it's a big cap hit for a guy who's never available, never plays. But if he can, he has the potential to be a decent guy. He's a good outlet, catches a lot of passes, and that's what you kind of need, especially when you're adjusting to new situations. The problem with this Saints team is they're getting a little bit older. They're getting long in the tooth. They don't have too much youth out there that get you super excited. Besides the young wide receiver out of Ohio State, Chris Olave, who was very strong for them, was their leading receiver last year. So there is a nice potential there if you can have Olave be your number 1, Michael Thomas be healthy, be your number 2. You find yourself another 3. Jarvis Landry really wasn't that guy last year they thought he would be. So there is potential in New Orleans. They did not have to give up draft capital to acquire Carr, which is a big, big deal. They do have a draft pick towards the back end of their draft. They made a really bad trade last year, moving with Philly to lose their first round pick. This year, it would have been the 10th pick in the draft. Now they made some other moves to get back into the first round this year. It's just not great. Cam Jordan's getting old, so it's a very interesting year for the Saints coming up. That division is dog shit. That's a bad division. Not good quarterbacks in that division. Brady's retired. There's no quarterback in Carolina, and Desmond Ridder in Atlanta, really. So it's a lot of mad. The Saints, very strong favorites to win the division now. But let's look at Carr as a whole, where he ranks in the quarterback average salary rankings. Not bad. He's number 9 at $37.5 million on average for next season. That's not bad at all. We know it's only a $7 million cap hit. That's very manageable. Like I said, he's probably in more the 15 to 12 range, but this isn't terrible. You know, these guys here aren't bad, but when you look at the cap hits, it's really where he gets big. The Deshaun Watson, Mahomes, and you scroll all the way down here. I mean, we go all the way down to number 22 for Derek Carr, and let's not mention Justin Herbert and Joe Burrow are going to fly up this list as far as cap hits go. Jameis Winston's probably going to be a cap casualty in New Orleans now. You can't be dealing with that $15.6 million when you just brought on Carr. So Carr is super affordable for the Saints next year and not too bad in 2024. Let's flip on over. I know I love playing with the cap stuff here. So yeah, 2024, he's at about 8. That'll go down, like I said, Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert and Jalen Hurts probably all going to go by him. So he'll be in that 10 to 12 range, which is exactly where I think you need to be paying Carr. So it's a good deal overall for the Saints. They didn't cost you any draft capital because they're going to have to rebuild this roster a bit with the incoming cap casualties. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Is this a good spot for Carr? How big of a pickup is this for the Saints? Are they guaranteed division champs next year? Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Again, like this video, subscribe to the channel if you're not already, share this video with your friends, and I'll see y'all tomorrow.